I will be narrating Thomas Hobbes' De Cive and Leviathan, narrated by Aaron Cummings. In the first text, Thomas Hobbes describes the relationship between man and the community and the government. He defines this as society, which is bound by a contract, more specifically the social contract, which he defines in the first text as civil societies are not mere meetings, but bonds, to the making whereof faith and compacts are necessary. In order for the social contract to be legitimate, everyone has to be a part of it, he argues. All men, and specifically men, are equal. And the way that he determines equality is describing that men are often selfish or self-centered in their values or how they go about their lives. More specifically, he talks about how men would rather gain or receive glory and not so much for love of their fellows. He also describes that they pursue vain glory, and he describes that no society can be great or lasting which begins from vain glory, because that glory is like honor. If all men have it, no man hath it, for they consist in comparison and precedence. The other aspect of man's selfishness is what he describes as selfish appetite, which men must fall out of, but many will fail to do so. He also likens it to lust, and he says that lusts of men do daily threaten each other. The other part of society is he describes it as very competitive in a sort of animal kingdom survival of the fittest style. And so the fact that society is very cutthroat, they are going to see their neighbors as competitors rather than community members. So whether it's in the economy or because of the government, they are going to be competing with one another on a hostile level. De Cive describes the social contract's role in society, whereas Leviathan focuses on describing man in multiple terms. He says that all men are equal because they all have desire, fear, and hope. He also breaks down man between body and mind. And if one man pursues their interests, then other men are probably going to do the same. He also talks about the primitive nature of man in Leviathan, saying that private appetite is the measure of good and evil, and consequently all men agree on this, that peace is good. So although man has disadvantages like lust and private appetite, there are also advantages, which he describes in moral philosophical terms. He agrees that although men have desire, fear, and hope, they also have the same values, including peace and anti-war, modesty, and honor listed in the first text. This is the social aspect of the social contract as well as the social aspect of society as a whole. And this contract is described in Leviathan as well as the mutual transferring of right is that which men can call contract. Other things that men have as a positive value is liberty. He describes to lay down a man's right to anything is to divest himself of the liberty of hindering another of the benefit of his own right to the same. Some of the common themes between the two texts is describing the natural state of man as primitive, comparing men to animals. Men see society through a cost-benefit dichotomy, and they are motivated by fear, whether it's fear of the government or fear of the other neighbors that they're competing against. Although man is not exclusively selfish, he is also self-preserving. So if man were by himself, he would be very successful, although he would probably not see himself as part of the collective. And so that would diminish the community quality of society. The social contract also applies to everyone. So if one person has these thoughts, then everyone else must as well. Some of the flaws is he has a very pessimistic view on society and men, and the social contract is easily broken if one man chooses to not respect it. And so the relativism that Thomas Hobbes describes could work for some people, but his framework could cause others to take advantage of each other.